Good afternoon. Thank you for coming out for this announcement that we are prepared to give today. This is in regards, as you can see on the poster board, one of the lost lives we had in Columbus this year, unfortunately, Miss Olivia Kurtz, back on May 22nd, 2021. So this press conference is in regards to a collaboration that we are working in conjunction with the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Columbus Division of Police. So we are going to have Columbus Division of Police Chief Bryant speak, as well as the special agent in charge of the FBI Cincinnati Field Division, Special Agent Rivers. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Chief Bryant to the podium.
Good afternoon. First, we'd like to thank the FBI for their assistance and willingness to partner with us in this investigation. I also want to thank our Safe Streets Initiative, our Reroute, and our ATF. Our task force has been monumental in helping us and assisting us in dealing with our crime this summer. I also want to thank our homicide team, Commander Strasbaugh and his team, and Investigator Chapman specifically on this case. I'd also like to thank Lamar Advertising, who has agreed as a public service announcement to place this poster on all the electronic billboards in the Columbus area. Any loss of life is tragic, but it is especially tragic when a juvenile life is taken from us. Olivia was just 16 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. As a mother, I can't imagine what that feels like to lose a child. We as a community should be heartbroken for Olivia's family and should be willing to do anything to bring them closure. To the citizens of this city, I ask, when is enough enough? When are we going to be tired of the violence that is occurring in this great city? To date, we've lost 149 lives as a result of senseless acts of violence. 35 of those lives under the age of 21, including Olivia. 80 of those lives were 30 years or younger. I say enough is enough. We need to come together as a community, take a stand and do what is right to assist in stopping this violence. There were hundreds of people at Bicentennial Park on the night of May 22nd, when Olivia was tragically shot and killed. Hundreds. Somebody in that crowd, they saw something and has the information necessary to hold the persons accountable for this crime. We have said multiple times that there needs to be partnerships between the citizens of this great city and the police. Well, we need the citizens to uphold their end and come forward today with information. We are urging those individuals with information on this case or any other unsolved homicide or felonious assault case to come forward with the crucial information that is needed to bring the person or persons responsible to justice. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce FBI Special Agent in Charge, Will Rivers.
Good afternoon. My name is Will Rivers. I'm the Special Agent in Charge of the FBI Cincinnati Field Office Division. I'd like to thank Chief Bryant and the Columbus Police Department officers who are working to solve this murder of Olivia Kurtz. It's, as the chief said, it's sad anytime that a life is lost, but especially in the case of an innocent child, who had a bright future ahead of her. We're partnering with Columbus PD to help solve this homicide. So with that, the FBI is offering a reward up to $25,000 for any information that can lead to the identification, arrest, and prosecution of the individuals responsible for Olivia's homicide. We encourage the public to come forward with any information you may have. We've set up a call line. That information can be provided at 800-CALL-FBI. No information is too small, and it could be important, even though it may not seem important to you. So any information is critical. This also includes phone and video, photos and videos from phones from the party, an event, or surrounding area near the time of the shooting. We've established a website where those photos and videos could be uploaded. That website is fbi.gov/Columbus. Again, we're offering a reward up to $25,000. We hope that we're asking that the community come forward, not because just of the reward, but because it's the right thing to do, to help serve justice for Olivia and help ensure some sort of closure for her grieving family. Thank you.
So we will open up for a few questions. We have just a few minutes. So yes, Lacey.
For the special agent, I was wondering what role will the FBI be playing in this investigation, and how do you think you'll be able to assist in the investigation?
So the reward financial is definitely one component of that. We're working closely with Columbus. We always do. We have a very close partnership, and we're still our support changes based on the needs. You know, a mass shooting event like this, you know, there's a lot of things to consider. So we're offering all of our resources to help Columbus through this. So we're working closely, but that changes on a daily basis, honestly.
I'm not sure if this question is for you or for the chief, but the poster says this shooting may be associated with other shootings in the city. Can you elaborate on that? What shootings you might be talking about? Any other shootings involving young people?
I'm gonna ask DC Becker to step forward.
Thanks, Chief. So we've had several shootings, as everybody's aware, multiple ones in public parks with large gatherings of youth. We do have some reason to believe that there may be a connection between this one and at least one other one, and some of the same people involved. And if the same people are involved, especially you've been at 2 of these events and you know something that happened out there, we really need you to come forward before we're talking about another case. These tragedies need to end, as the chief and the special agent said, and people have information. There were, at both events, there were hundreds of young people, as we're well aware. Young people don't go anywhere without their phones. Their phones are out, they're recording constantly. We're pretty confident somebody recorded this, recorded the people involved in this. Maybe they recorded something that they don't think is necessarily what they didn't record the shooting and they think it's inconsequential, but that could be evidence that helps us solve this case, and we really need that to be brought forward.
Can you talk a little bit about why now? Why bring the FBI into this investigation at this point versus on May 23rd or, you know, in June or July?
One, it's not this point. They've been partnering with us for quite a while. They just have worked silently in the background to help us out, as they do in many of our cases that don't get publicized. This case, you know, being out here that night when that happened, it was towards the start of summer, what could have been a great summer for these young people, and one of them didn't leave here that night. You know, now we're winding down summer. We've been unable to close this case so far, despite knowing that there's so many witnesses. The FBI brought forward the idea of the reward money to help encourage people to come forward before this goes on any longer.
Deputy Chief, I'm wondering if you can elaborate on what you mentioned earlier about this possibly being connected. What shooting in particular are you referencing?
I'm not going to go into details today because we want to protect both investigations, but we do have information leading us to believe that there is a connection between, a possible connection between this and another, and similar parties involved. We're working for all our victims. Regardless, 149 is a lot, and we want to bring closure for all those. But you know, if we have somebody involved in multiple shootings, that's especially concern to us, because if they've pulled the trigger more than once, the likelihood of them doing it again increases.
What's your take on these mass shootings
the fact that they sprayed into the crowd, and it's not the first time that's happened in Columbus. What's with that?
I can't necessarily say, Chief, you have anything? I can't put an understanding to that.
That's reckless and it's senseless, and that's one of the reasons why it's so alarming for us and why we are very adamant about making sure that we solve these crimes, because when you're talking about you, and these are a lot of young people we're talking about, we have to make sure that we address this immediately. It's reckless and it's senseless.
Chief, do you think that people have not come forward because they're afraid of retaliation?
I'm not sure if that's the reason they haven't come forward, but I would encourage them to do so, because it's important that we get these people. We have to bring them to justice. We have to make sure that they're not allowed to go out and do harm to someone else. This time it was Olivia. Next time it could be your brother, your mother, your cousin. It could be someone that you love. So we're urging you to please come forward and help us solve this crime.
And this question is for Commander Straussbaum, if you don't mind. I'm wondering how frustrating it is for you to know that there's so much cell phone video out there, and no one's come forward. And how do you think this amount of money as a reward is going to impact people's willingness to come forward?
Well, money always seems to be a driving factor for some folks instead of just doing it out of their own civic responsibility. This was a young lady who lost her life that night, and I'm sure came down here with just thinking, I'm going to a get-together and listen to music. And to go to Luann's question about the fear of retaliation, we offer so many avenues for people to give us information without disclosing who they are. And we need that one little extra piece, like the SAC said, that what you may think is not important is that one little piece that Detective Chapman needs to put that entire case together. So whereas the money is a driving factor for some, we're just hoping that this information gets out as much as possible. As Deputy Chief Becker said, you know, my detectives are working every single day for all 149. But when we sit back and we look at our youth and the youth that are out there at these events, and I've said it countless times, parents need to know where their children are, and parents need to know what the children are keeping in their rooms. It's not about parents, it's about parenting. That's your room that your child lives in. If they have a gun in the house, you don't know about it. They come home and they're wearing clothes that you didn't buy. There are all kinds of tales that moms and dads and grandmas and aunts and uncles can use to make sure that we keep our children safe. So it was just an idea to have the money come forward, and I have to say, I have to give kudos, I'm sorry, to Kristen Begg. She's the supervisor special agent in charge here in Columbus. And we've been working together for months just to try to get something together.
Chief, talk about the patrols in the parks. Do you feel that that has helped to prevent any further violence in the parks this summer?
I do. I think that the patrol initiative was a success. I do believe that it helped to curb some violence that may have otherwise have happened. So I do think it was a success.
For the detective, I imagine you've been in pretty direct conversations with the family. What is their response to having this money offered out, this reward?
They were really excited about it. I talked to Olivia's mom today. She would be here, but it's extremely painful for her right now. We're hoping this will generate some tips and take us to where we need to be at.
All right. Thank you all for coming. This concludes today's press conference.